So you're thinking about moving to Mount Juliet, Tennessee? Well, in this video, we're going to cover everything you need to know about Mount Juliet, the good and the bad. We're going to talk about everything you need to know so you can kind of like make a well-informed decision if you would consider moving down to Mount Juliet. As you can see, it's a very beautiful day here in Mount Juliet. So we're sitting at a park here. There's maybe like a little bit of rumor around us about children playing, but that's the beauty of being here in Mount Juliet. But that being said, let's get after it right now. This is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything there is about living in Nashville, hit the subscribe button, tap the bell for notification so you can be the first to know about the current market in Nashville. My name is Indro, and my partner Chloe and I, we get daily calls from people like you who are looking to make their move to Nashville, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, just give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Happy to help you make that smooth move to Nashville. So as I mentioned today, we are here located in Mount Juliet, and we're going to talk about the good stuff and the bad stuff, or the pro and the con about Mount Juliet, so you can get a better understanding what it would be like to live here in Mount Juliet. So Chloe actually lives here in Mount Juliet, so she's definitely an expert when it comes to giving you a little bit more information about the good stuff about Mount Juliet and the bad stuff. So that being said, let's start with the bad stuff because everybody wants to hear the bad news first. So Chloe, what do you consider like, let's say, con number one?
So just from moving here, first thing that we noticed was the traffic. Traffic is not the best right around Providence. We've noticed that the lights, usually the green lights last about 3 seconds and then they go back to red. So it leads to a lot of people running red lights. Not the best, but we have noticed that they're kind of fixing it, so that's nice. But yeah, if you get right off of I-40 and you're wanting to get into Providence, then there's no way to bypass it. You have to go through the traffic, especially during rush hour. It is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, and I guess that's what we see with Mount Juliet. It's growing so fast that the city is having problems, at least with the infrastructure. It cannot keep up with the exponential growth of Mount Juliet. Mm-hmm. So that is definitely a con, living in Mount Juliet. You have to deal with a lot of traffic, especially during rush hour. It can get pretty congested. If you have to take that road that leads from I-40 all the way down to Providence, which is kind of like the main road, so that could be definitely a con. All right, so let's talk about con number two, which is the weather. I don't know where you would come from, but if you come from up north United States, or you come from another country, you come from Europe, doesn't matter where it is, one thing you have to get used to here in Tennessee and in Mount Juliet is the weather. And what I mean with the weather is that during the summer period, let's say starting around July and August, it could get pretty hot and humid over here, and it's definitely something you have to get used to. There could be a couple of days where it could go up to about 100 degrees or even above, and you can just literally walk outside and within 10 minutes you're kind of like soaked. You feel the sweat dripping off your back. So that is definitely something, some people might like it, but some people might definitely consider it as a con, and it's something you really have to get used to.
Yeah, I would say the heat here is a little different than heat other places because it's not a dry heat like in California. This is a very humid heat, so it feels like a wet blanket laying on you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one option you could do is just stay inside, put on the air conditioning. You don't have to deal with it, but of course, if you have to go to work and you have to work outside, it can be pretty brutal sometimes.
And actually, Mount Juliet has several community pools, which is another great way to beat the heat. So it's a membership type of situation, but yeah, you can always join a community pool too.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's say you got the period where it gets really hot, but then you can maybe consider it as a good thing. You got the 4 seasons here, but another con at least is during the winter time, which is I would say around January. You do have a couple of days where you can get a lot of snow. And one thing I've noticed here down the south in the United States, and at least in Tennessee in general, or Nashville, Mount Juliet, that area, when they get snow over here, people start to panic pretty soon. They start to shut down their businesses, they shut down schools. Even if there's a couple of inches of snow, they really get pretty scared or pretty concerned or panicky when there's a little bit of snow.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to keep in mind. At least we do get snow here around January, and it could go from maybe one day to a couple of days, maybe a week in total. It's hard to predict, but at least you do get snow over here.
Yeah. So con number 3 is the bugs around here. So if you're thinking about moving really anywhere in the South, then you might want to get into some off spray or some citronella candles, because we have a lot of mosquitoes here. I mean, we can go on like a 5-minute walk and be covered in mosquito bites. So we have mosquitoes, we have chiggers in the grass, we have a lot of ticks. Obviously cicadas are seasonal, but we have a lot of those as well.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing. If you think you can move in Tennessee in general, any place in Tennessee, you're gonna have to face bugs. There's no escape from it. And like Chloe says, like if you sometimes sit outside in your yard, you can literally have within an hour, let's say 5 to 10 mosquito bites. So that is definitely not fun. But the way you can handle it, of course, is you can use any type of pest control to deal with that issue. But indeed, like something to consider and be careful if you go out on a walk or there's like grass or long grass, you go on a hike. Be careful for those creatures that are called chiggers. Never heard of them before I moved here, but they're apparently little tiny bugs that get on you, they bite you, and before you know, you get full of red little bumps, and apparently they itch like hell. So
yes, they do.
I try to stay out of long grass.
Yes. Also wasps. I don't know if you've noticed, we have a lot of red wasps here.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're aggressive.
Yep. So I'm not a fan of bugs.
Me either.
I admit that. So that's definitely a con in Tennessee in general.
Yep.
All right, and let's talk about con number 4, which is the infrastructure. So it kind of like goes a little bit along with the traffic, which is con number 1, but the infrastructure here is definitely an issue at this point because Mount Juliet is growing so fast that the infrastructure here is not adapted to the exponential growth here in Mount Juliet.
Yeah, I mean, you could also look at it as a positive, which kind of brings us into our pro number 1, is that it is a growing city with a lot of new opportunities. So they're actually doing a lot to fix the infrastructure. We have roads that are getting expanded. We have a BJ's coming in. If you don't know what BJ's is, it's kind of like a Costco or Sam's Club. We also have a lot of new housing developments coming in all the time.
So as you can see, there's a lot of need for extra housing here in Mount Juliet because it's one of the most popular and fast-growing cities in Tennessee. So that's another sign, at least, that Mount Juliet is a really great place to live. So they're trying to react to the demand of people that want to live here. So a lot of companies, like big building companies, they're looking for opportunities to build extra housing. So at least they can provide an opportunity to people who want to move here to Mount Juliet. The second positive thing about Mount Juliet is that it's a very, very safe place to live. So according to statistics, the overall crime rate is 52% lower than the crime rate in Tennessee. And it's also about 37% lower than the average crime rate in the United States. So those are pretty, big numbers at least. Being able to live in a very safe city is, of course, very appealing for everybody, especially for families with young children. And I think even Chloe can give you a little story about a personal situation she dealt with the police over here, just to give you an idea how friendly and nice the law enforcement is over here. Yeah,
I was actually just about to mention that. The cops are really relaxed, but in a good way around here. So they're the perfect balance between strict and chill. Actually, I had a flat tire on the highway around here, and they came and helped me pump my tire up. I've never had a cop try to help me with my tire, and they made sure I got off the road safely. It was a really good experience. So
yeah, absolutely. So that's really nice to see that police is at least on the roads, they're watching over you, and they're definitely helping you, which is just awesome. Yeah,
and also because it's such a safe area, you can easily walk around anywhere, especially in Providence. It's a huge walking district. So, I mean, even when the sun goes down, you can go over to the Target or the Kroger, the Publix. They have everything right there. I take my bike everywhere, and then they have a huge walking trail, and I've never felt unsafe doing it. So yeah, it's a really safe area. You have a lot of opportunity here to get out and about in the community.
Yeah, so Providence indeed is like the biggest shopping center here in Mount Juliet. You definitely want to check out my full vlog through about Mount Juliet as well, where we kind of like cover Providence, the Providence area, as well as some different neighborhoods we went by. So you definitely want to check that video out as well. So let's talk about pro number 3, which is the great schools they have here in Mount Juliet. Now, Mount Juliet is a part of Wilson County, and Wilson County is known to have a very good school rating, good school districts. And in Mount Juliet, at least, according to niche.com, all the public schools here have a minimum of an A rating, so which is just, you know, really great. Compared to other counties and cities in Tennessee, Mount Juliet is definitely known to have one of the better schools.
Yeah, we also just built a brand new high school on the north side of Mount Juliet called Green Hill High School. It is beautiful. I mean, it literally looks like a college. So yeah, we have some really nice facilities around here.
Yeah, and this is like typically about Mount Juliet. As you can see, it is growing, and it's growing fast, but it's really developing into a really nice area, a nice city.
The 4th pro is the diversity of landscape that you have in Mount Juliet. You obviously have the urban feel of Providence that has a ton of housing and the shopping, but you could literally go like 3 minutes down the road and you're running into cows. So I would say most of Mount Juliet is probably more rural, but you also have the urban feel of things. And if you're wanting to find an urban place to live that is still safe and easy to grow a family, then this is a really good area to do that. And also we have a lot of horseback riding lessons out here because it's very rural.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what Chloe says, which is really nice, is that you have the opportunity to still, you know, let's say live in the urban part of town of Mount Juliet, or you can go a little bit more south, for example, and that's what you will see as well in our full vlog tour. At a certain point, we went to a neighborhood that's a little bit located south near Percy Priest Lake, and you will see that it's just really like you have that country feeling where you have nothing but green scenery around you, open pastures, a lot of land. So you definitely have an opportunity to choose if you prefer to live in a kind of like an urban environment or an urban feeling, or if you prefer a little bit more to have that rural feeling. So you definitely have 2 options here in Mount Juliet, which is pretty unique and nice, at least. So we're going to talk about our last pro, which is number 5, which is the location. Mount Juliet is located between one of the biggest lakes in Middle Tennessee, which is Old Hickory Lake and Percy Priest Lake. So if you're really a fan of boating, kayaking, fishing, then I would say you're literally in heaven, because you can choose either way, go a little bit up north to Old Hickory Lake, or go a little bit more down south to Percy Priest Lake, and you got multiple opportunities to go boating, fishing, kayaking. So that is really a unique, or let's say positive thing about living in Mount Juliet. You're literally close to those 2 lakes. Another thing, it is pretty close to the airport. I think it's about a 15-minute drive till you reach the airport. And then even if you go a little bit further, let's say another 10 minutes, you reach Nashville. So, you know, Mount Juliet is definitely located perfectly from the airport and from Nashville.
So before we end the video, one last feature that I like about Mount Juliet is the train. I believe it was in your last video. We went over to the station. So that actually goes all the way from Lebanon to downtown Nashville. So if you didn't want to have to deal with the commute in your car, you could get a train pass and ride the train to and from work every day. So it's a really nice feature.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that being said, this kind of like wraps it up about the pro and the con about Mount Juliet. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you have any type of question or you would like to get more information or more detailed information, just comment below. And thanks for watching. So hopefully until next time, and hopefully to see you around town. Bye-bye.
Bye.